Good morning, everyone. How are you today? Today's video is about 3 key steps to letting go of emotional eating. So my name is Kelsie Michaud, for those of you who don't know me, and I help individuals create healthy habits and mindset so they can lose weight sustainably for long-term success. So, I just want to, first I just want to let everybody know that I'm booking complimentary consultations this week. I have 5 spots open, so I'm available, and that's where we can just jump on a 30-minute call and just dive really deep into your own health and weight goals, and I can show you how I can take you from where you are now to where you'd like to go. So let's dive right into our topic. Food, we eat food and that takes care of our hunger because we get hungry, then we want to eat. So the food takes care of that hunger, right? Well, food is fuel for our bodies. So it's not to be relief for pain. And yet somehow we find ourselves just still opening up those cupboards and, hoping to find a snack. And then 5 minutes later, we're back again and again looking for something else. So I'm curious, does this sound familiar to you? I know it sounds super familiar for me. I've been there before for sure in the past. But a lot of times we try to use food to bring calm to something that's emotional, whether it be we're just bored, we're feeling a little down, we're feeling a little sad or angry, or even just lonely. But the bottom line is that food can never really ever alleviate an emotion. But I do understand how easy it is to fall into this pattern. We oftentimes we're an isolating species. And, I don't mean just like how we're having to isolate now. I mean, we don't always feel comfortable sharing our pain or our worries with those, with all of those around us. So we isolate, from others by things like, we just stop sharing, or, we keep a lot of stuff inside of us. And so then we end up just turning to food. And, afterwards, like the after effect, we feel the guilt and the shame, and it's just that same cycle, which is never ending. It's over and over again. It goes around and around and around. So, what we're searching for is that food to bring us some joy or belief in that moment, but ultimately that's just short-lived. So how do we say no to the salt and the alcohol and the sugar that seems to just constantly call your name? Well, I have 3 really important steps that I want to help you, that I want to share with you, that will help with emotional eating, that I'm about to share. So number 1 is awareness. And, you can't change what you're not aware of, right? So the minute you go to that cupboard and then you go again and again, you're going to use it to deny what is really going on in your life usually. And when we use food to numb our emotions, it can kind of just numb out our life. So I want you to take note of specific times when this is happening to you. Write it down if you have to. Get a journal and keep track of these kinds of things, and try and see if you can really pinpoint what you might be feeling. Maybe it's sadness or anger or stress. Maybe you're just bored. But once you are aware, and then you know when and why, then you can begin to take action. And 2, remember, there is nothing wrong with you. I want you to keep saying that to yourself over and over again. And the reason why that is because once we bring that awareness, once we become more aware, we tend to go straight to beating ourselves up for choices that we just made. But we have to remember that when things are going well in our lives, it's easier to stay on that healthier track. So the thing is, when those stressors come back in, and that's when our willpower tends to disappear. So it's completely normal. It's just, it's part of us being human, and no one teaches us ways to really weather that storm, so we have to keep experimenting until we find what works for us, because we're all so different and we're all individuals, right? And 3, come up with some coping solutions within that moment. So once you are aware, you're ready to make those better choices. So maybe you eat the ice cream, just have a little bit less, or portion out your favorite chips, and then at that time pick up the phone and call a friend, call somebody that you really trust. And the biggest thing to remember is, in all of this, is that you're definitely not alone, because there's so many people that deal with this on a day-to-day basis and that have been there, including myself. So this is why I really want to share with you some 3 specific things that you can do when you're feeling like you just want to throw in the towel, or you just want to bury your emotions with food. So 1, I want you to choose sleep over snacking, because it's usually late at night, right? When those cravings come on and that snacking starts to happen. When you start craving some chocolate or maybe a glass of wine, it's usually at that time. But I can always benefit from a solid night's sleep, so just stop in that moment and just get into bed and give yourself that space to relax and shut your mind. Not only will you feel better in the morning, but everything will be better as a result, because you'll be more rested, and then you're just ready to tackle the next day. Plus, the more and better rest you get, the less hungry you're likely to be the next day, and the less cravings you're likely to have. So that's a win-win right there. And 2, create connections. I know, I definitely know who I can call or who I can talk to. When we don't need to completely isolate ourselves, especially during this time. We're told to isolate and to social distance and things like that. But especially right now, we have the wonderful, world of technology now right at our fingertips, right at our hands all the time. So with this technology that we have today, our friends and family are right there, at our fingertips. So even though we can't see them so much in person right now, there's always somebody that you could call or talk to, or maybe a family member, somebody in your house that you can turn to and talk to, and know that who is on your side, for to reach out to. And 3, make some food switches. If I'm craving something crunchy, I'll choose an apple over chips, or maybe I'll have some tea instead of wine. Some simple little changes like that. And I know it may not seem as good, but it still gives me something that, that's distracting me a little bit, and then it's not adding the extra calories. Plus, I'm going to feel better for it afterwards, both mentally and physically. So at the end of the day, food cannot fill an emotional void. We have to face that emotion, that emotional part of our existence. It's a huge component of a healthy life, and it gets overlooked way too often. So try out some of these tips, and and let me know how it goes. Leave a comment, or you can PM me if you'd rather. And I always love hearing from you. So I would just want to help you out on this journey to your best self. So just as a reminder, I'm available for complimentary consultations, and that's, again, where we jump on the phone for roughly 30 minutes, and we can just dive really deep into your own health and weight goals if you're feeling a little stuck or confused, and I can teach you and tell you how I can take you from where you are now to where you'd like to go. So if there's no questions right now, please feel free. If anything comes up, leave it in the comments. But I'm going to hop off, and I'm going to head out and do some yard work today, because it's a beautiful day, and that also helps to relieve stress, and it's grounding, getting myself out into the earth, and it's super healthy and beneficial for the body. So I hope you're going to do something that's going to make you feel good today, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys.